You're lying. You know damn well whose name is on that deed. I told you stay out, this isn't your fight. She stood her ground, arms rigid at her sides. You can't erase what's under this concrete. Everyone will see the truth now. A scoff echoed off the peeling plaster. You're risking everything for a slab of rotted wood, how pathetic. You forged the liens. The town's about to find out, she answered, her voice sharp as broken glass. Not before the auction. Walk away while you still can. No, she spat, hands trembling but jaw set. This is the end of your little show. I'm not afraid of you anymore. For one long second, the musty silence pressed in, broken only by breathing and the dull thrum of rain outside. To understand how she ended up clutching crumpled deeds beneath a bare bulb, we need to go back, before anyone believed a forgotten cottage could change a single thing. Amanda had $46.32 in her checking account, a failing minivan sputtering at the edge of Newton County, and a Polaroid of her late husband wedged in the visor, smiling at her like he might walk back through the rain any second. The steady drum of water on the windshield blurred the outline of the boarded-up cottages lining Main Street, Oak Haven, Missouri. A damp wind rattled her only suitcase. She muttered, "Not much left, Tom, just us and the stories." No answer, of course, but the memory of Tom's laugh, deep, steady, filled the quiet as she rolled down her window and let rain sting her palm. Amanda traced the faded ink on the property transfer notice in her lap, a boarded-up clapboard cottage on the edge of ruin, left by her late mother specifically to her. Condemned, everyone said. Ain't fit for rats, the town clerk, Mrs. Fetter, had whispered over the counter. As she stepped into the mud, suitcase in tow, a battered pickup skidded to a stop behind her. Out stepped her mother, Lorraine Mays, all lacquered hair and tight lips, and Jerry, her stepfather, slamming the truck door. Lorraine's voice cut through the drizzle. "I told you, Amanda, there's nothing here for you. You're wasting your time." Jerry leaned against the hood, arms folded, smiling barely. "You'd be smart to leave town. Place is a liability." Amanda jangled the brass key in her hand. "Legally, it's mine. That's what the letter says." Lorraine's eyes narrowed. "Legally, you've never known half of what you should." Amanda shouldered her suitcase, heart pounding. The doors were sealed with rusted padlocks, except for one odd square of new cement next to the garage. She crouched, running her fingers along the edge. There, just visible beneath the grime, lay the sunken curve of a metal hinge, new, incongruous against the rotted facade. Hook 1. Someone had recently disturbed just this patch of concrete. If you've ever watched your own kin stake a claim on something everyone told you had no worth, keep listening. The real fight was just beginning. The crawl from curb to rotting porch made her shoes squelch and her shoulders ache. Fat drops hammered down as Amanda propped her single suitcase on the crumbling steps and shivered. Her mother's threats pooled in her ears like old rainwater. She pressed Tom's photo tight, then tried the lock with shaking hands. It stuck at first, then gave under a sharp twist. The door swung in, exhaling the humid stink of mildew and old pine. She paused, scanning the small living room. Bare walls, boards nailed haphazardly over cracked windows, wallpaper puckered from water leaks, and stray moonlight picking out a strange, rectangular patch in the middle of the garage floor visible through the warped interior door. She set her suitcase inside, clutching her wadded letter. Every board creaked like a warning. Her phone buzzed a text. "Last warning, Amanda," it read. "Lorraine again, leave tonight. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." Her chest clamped tight. She thumbed Tom's photo again, the one from 6 years back, him, hair tousled, engine grease under his nails, grinning after fixing her first car solo. A flash of memory, her mother slapping her hand away from a ledger at the family reunion 2 summers before. "Grown business is not for girls," Lorraine had hissed, knuckles white. And now the cottage, condemned, supposedly worthless, was all that remained. She inhaled damp air and whispered, "Let's see what you buried, Mom." Amanda slung her bag over her shoulder, pushed through into the faded, mildewed garage, and knelt by the odd, too-new patch of concrete. The pitted slab called up something primal, a secret barely beneath the surface. She rapped on it, hollow, with a tiny metallic ring. A chill cut through the humid air. The first revelation was waiting just below her knees. She glanced at the battered workbench, Tom's old jackhammer, powder blue and paint-flecked, propped beside a heap of moldy drop cloths. Any attempt at subtlety had long since washed away. She dragged the tool to the concrete patch and hesitated, watching rain streak down the fogged window. Flashback sharp and sudden, Tom showing her how to grip the handle, his thumb firm on hers. "Don't fight it, guide it," he'd said, voice low. Another sliver, Lorraine turning away at Tom's funeral, purse clutched in both fists, eyes rimmed red but hard. Amanda squared her shoulders, plugged in the jackhammer, and attacked the concrete. The noise roared, drowning out the thunder for one fierce minute, splintering the slab into rough gray chunks. Underneath, the blade struck metal. She cut the machine and knelt, palms raw, dragging away debris. Below the dust, the edge of a steel chest sunk into the ground, caked in mud but unmistakably new. Adrenaline punched her chest. She slid her fingers into the lip, heaved the lid open, and recoiled at the pungent waft of mildew and old paper, a nest of folded documents, envelopes tied with string. Among them, a heavy envelope stamped Oak Haven County Court, original deed enclosed. Amanda's hands shook as she read the first page, original deeds with her mother's handwriting spelling out her name and mortgage slips marked paid in full. The ink had run, but the signatures were crisp. Her mother had left the cottage and the land beneath, free and clear, no liens, no debt. The metallic taste of betrayal rose in Amanda's mouth. Hook 2 landed. Mom had lied to the whole town. She pried deeper into the chest, finding a creased photograph of her grandparents standing arm in arm beside the cottage in the 1930s, grinning as masons posed behind them with mortar and brick. Another bundle, architectural drawings with notes in her grandfather's tight script. The last item, a spiral-bound brown notebook, its spine fraying, caught Amanda's breath. On the front, "For the one who believes." She opened it, skimming, pulse thrumming. "You who find this, never let them convince you there's nothing here. Below, in the rock, I built tunnels, rooms of hope, not for secrets but for safety." Pages rustled. Architectural diagrams showed the cottage's foundations. Beneath, a network of rooms in the stone bluffs under Oak Haven, stretching to the main street, marked Escape Passage and Emergency Stores 1935. Her head swam. An entire mansion built underground, hidden for nearly a century. And here, proof Lorraine and Jerry had tried, twice, to claim it all by faking liens. Amanda's hands trembled as she whispered, "Tom, I really hope you're watching this." Hook 3 bit deep. The past wasn't just alive, it shifted the ground under her feet. Amanda wrapped the brown notebook in a towel and slid it into her satchel, then thumbed through the remaining legal documents. A set of forged liens, dog-eared and smudged, stamped with Jerry's handwriting from just 3 months ago, the paper still crisp. There were letters of default, all unsigned, and a typed note, "File immediately to avoid attention. L." She snapped a picture with her shaking phone and stuffed everything back in the chest. There wasn't time to process it all. The rain let up as she crashed onto the porch, dialing a number she never thought she'd use again. Wes Turner, Oak Haven's only honest realtor, picked up on the third ring, his drawl slow, skeptical. "Amanda Mays, haven't heard that name in a while." Wes' voice carried the clipped notes of old distrust. "I need your help," Amanda replied, voice taut. "My mother and Jerry forged liens on the old cottage. The real deeds and the mortgage are right here, and I just uncovered something else underneath. You ever hear of tunnels below Oak Haven?" "A long beat. You best come by now. I'm in the office. Bring everything. And Wes auction S in under 48 hours, if something happens." "I got your back, Amanda. Don't let 'em bully you off what's yours, but we gotta move fast." She threw a tarp over the chest, grabbed the brown notebook, and pulled Tom's photo from her pocket. Time was running out, and the villains wouldn't wait. Amanda raced her minivan across puddled roads to Wee's office by the faded grain silos. Light pooled from the sign, Turner Realty, flickering in the storm. Inside, we sat behind a cluttered desk, tie loosened, sleeves rolled, chewing on a toothpick. He motioned her in. "Sit, show me." She spread the original deeds, crumpled default letters, and the notebook across the formica. He raised his brows. "These dates 1931, good Lord, and here, see this? The county clerk's stamp. You could append the whole auction, but why bust up concrete?" She slid the spiral notebook toward him. He leafed through, eyes narrowing. "Escape tunnels, mansion rooms, this changes more than you know." "They forged every lien," Amanda said, her voice hoarse. "Jerry signed them. They wanted to force a sale, then scoop it up for nothing." Wees leaned in, glancing over his shoulder. "You realize if this gets out, Oak Haven gets put back on the map. Every developer from St. Louis to Little Rock will be on your lawn." A bead of sweat ran down Amanda's neck. "I'm okay with finally being seen." Wees held up the forged letters, jaw tight. "You got 48 hours. Get the auditor, file everything with the county, and be ready. Lorraine and Jerry won't just roll over." Amanda wiped her palms on her jeans. "Then let's make it hell for them to hide." "You're your daddy's kid, I'll give you that," Wees grinned. "I'll call the tax assessor. You tell the sheriff yourself." She stuffed the documents back into her battered satchel, energy buzzing. The next move belonged to her. That night, Amanda returned to the cottage under the low moan of wind, flashlight trembling in her fist. As she parked, a pale sedan idled at the corner, the license plate familiar. Lorraine and Jerry watching. Amanda's breath caught as she ducked inside, scanned for movement. The old porch sang with every step. Her phone blinked a new message. A simple, ugly threat. "You do this, you won't have a family left." A cold wash of fear spilled through her as she locked the door, but Tom's voice, steady, protective, always stubborn, seemed to echo in her head. "Don't you let them run you off, Mandy. You stick." She stalked back to the garage, knelt where she'd hammered open the slab, and hoisted up a second panel in the floor, revealing, as the notebook had promised, a steel hatch set into the ground. She pried at the latch, cursing under her breath until the hatch door creaked and gave. The rush of cold, dust-choked air made her cough, but she pressed on. Below, a staircase carved into bedrock led down. Amanda's shoes scraped on stone. Flashlight peeled away the dark, tiled arches, dusty wall sconces, and a yawning hallway ending at a heavy oak door, paint long since peeled. She reached the door and set a hand flat to it, feeling heat where there should be none, pipes, maybe old wiring. Down here the air was thick with memory. She turned the knob and entered. Room by room the place unfurled. A grand parlor with collapsing velvet chairs, a pantry lined with hastily sealed shelves, a full-sized ballroom, its chandelier fractured by time, and a passage leading toward Main Street, padlocked from inside. Every wall was covered in yellowed newspaper, dates spanning the Depression to the 50s. Clippings about storms survived, missing persons, business deals out of thin air. A trunk sat on the ballroom dais, and inside, a stack of letters. The top in her grandfather's hand, dated May 1932. "My dear, the world is smaller now and the strong prey on the weak. If you ever need safety, come below and keep the secret until it's needed for good, not profit. Your mother may forget, but you must remember." Amanda's chest ached as she tucked the letters into her satchel. She'd seen enough. A siren keened faintly outside. Panic zipped through her, but she forced herself to memorize every detail of the underground mansion as she climbed out, sealing the hatch behind her. Hook 4, this wasn't just a cottage, it was the foundation of Oak Haven itself. 2 days until the auction. Each hour ticked away with a fresh slap of anxiety. At sunrise, Amanda thundered into the county clerk's office, battered documents and photos in hand. She forced Wee's number onto the front desk, breathless. Within an hour, the deputy auditor, Marty Ellis, met her in the back conference suite, short, harried, stubble on his jaw, sleeves rolled. He eyed her papers, cross-referencing dates. "This is something," he muttered, flipping through. "Lien's all faked, see the mismatched stamp here. Notary signature doesn't match county files. You got their backs to a wall, but if they buy tomorrow, they own it, fraud or not, unless we report it now." Amanda's lips curled bitter. Lorraine threatened to cut me out again. Marty snapped the file shut. "You want to nail 'em? File it now. Tax assessor spots undisclosed income, starts an audit. Town finds out their crooks before the bid, not after." Amanda pointed at the photos. "I found a full complex under the cottage. It's huge, worth more than every other house on the block." We's leaned in, eyes wide. The county will lose their minds, and Lorraine's never gonna recover from this. Amanda's fingers balled tight. "I'm not doing this out of spite. I just want what's mine. I want them to stop lying." Marty grinned. "You want revenge or justice, because you just set a bomb under their little parade." Amanda marched out, stomach buzzing. The moment of reckoning was set, but so was her own risk. That night, headlights flared through her cottage window. A rock clattered against the warped door. Amanda gripped the phone, ready to dial the sheriff as Jerry's voice called through the glass. "Come out, Amanda. Don't screw this up for all of us." Her heart hammered. She pressed her back to the wall, counting breaths. Lorraine's silhouette flickered on the porch, sharp and brittle. 3 knocks, then nothing. Amanda's mind whirled. If she lost, she'd be exiled for good, no friends, no family left here. If she won, she'd have nowhere to hide. She clutched Tom's photo again, his eyes all fight, no fear. Hook 5 should stand alone before she debow. Dawn broke cloudy and bruised. Amanda stacked her evidence, original deeds, forged liens, grandfather's plans, underground photos. She reviewed her notebook, cross-checked with Wees and Marty over a shared thermos of black coffee. "You ready for this?" Wee's tone was quiet, steady. She nodded, voice rough. "I'm more ready than I thought I'd be." Marty handed her a copy for the sheriff, hands trembling slightly. "File this at town hall. Let everyone see, Amanda." Amanda zipped the folder into her satchel, jaw set. "If Lorraine talks, let her talk. I'm tired of hiding, tired of being scared." Wees tipped his hat. "Oak Haven's about to learn who you are." She bundled her nerve and left, raincoat snapped tight, hurrying toward the courthouse. Her mother and Jerry already striding up the opposite sidewalk, heads high, eyes glinting. Hook 6, 2 paths led to one bloody battlefield. Main Street bulged with townsfolk lining the steps of the old 5-room hotel, the site of the sheriff's auction, now a mock court of public opinion. Oak Haven's mayor, Judge Riley, stood at the top rail, gavel in hand. Rain threatened at the edge of the sky, making every face in the crowd glisten. Amanda tucked her evidence under her arm, pushing through. She caught Lorraine's hard gaze, lips tight, and Jerry's uneasy shuffle. Beside them, Cousin Brian pretended not to look, twisting his cap in both hands. Marty waved her over as we hung back, hands in pockets. The crowd hummed with gossip as the mayor bellowed, "Property auction for parcel 14B, Main Street. Do we have any registered bidders for the Mays Cottage?" Lorraine raised her paddle. "We bid on behalf of the family." Jerry echoed, "Full price, cash offer ready." Amanda, voice clear as glass, stepped forward. "Wait, before this proceeds, I have evidence of fraud, and I have legal claim." Gasps rippled. Lorraine snapped, "More baseless accusations, Amanda. Think you can win this one?" Amanda locked eyes, gripping her folder so tight her knuckles whitened. "You know damn well whose name is on that deed." Lorraine's reply was icy, her voice pitched. Stay out. This isn't your fight, you never belonged here." Amanda's pulse soared. Judge Riley sharpened. "We have procedures for contesting ownership, Miss Mays. If you have proof, step up." She shuffled forward, laying out the original deeds, the paid mortgage, the forged liens stamped with Jerry's hand. "My mother and Jerry manufactured these liens. Here are the originals, my name, paid in full. No claims, no debt. They wanted the auction to grab what never belonged to them." The mayor peered at the papers, frowning. The crowd pressed in for a better look. Jerry sputtered, voice cracking. "She's making it up. She doctored those herself." Amanda didn't flinch. She plucked the brown notebook free, opening to the diagram of underground rooms. "You can't erase what's under this concrete. Everyone will see the truth now," she said, her voice ringing. Lorraine let out a sharp laugh, masking a tremble. "You're risking everything for a slab of rotted wood. How pathetic." Amanda snapped, "You forged the liens. The town's about to find out." Lorraine leaned in, eyes wild. "Not before the auction. Walk away while you still can." Amanda clutched Tom's photo in her pocket, voice quivering but strong. "No. This is the end of your little show. I'm not afraid of you anymore." The crowd shifted. Judge Riley motioned a deputy forward. "Is there a law officer present? This requires review by the assessor and the sheriff. I'm delaying this auction until the paperwork is confirmed." The silence rang. Lorraine's face mottled, Jerry stammering behind her. The town's eyes fixated on Amanda, no longer the widow at the edge of the crowd, but the center. Weez clapped her shoulder, grinning. Marty scribbled frantic notes as the sheriff stepped up, brow furrowed. Then the hammer swung. The county auditor read, voice booming, "Undisclosed estate income, tax code violation. 1931 deed proves no liens, forgery investigation launched." The crowd murmured, then rose in low, dangerous laughter. Lorraine spun on Jerry, slamming her paddle to the floor. Jerry's shoulders slumped. A hush fell as Amanda finally breathed, free and clear, the truth echoing loud and unforgiving. The turn spread like wildfire. The town's runners fanned out, calling neighbors, the gossip at Oak Haven's cafe swelling with every retelling. Lorraine and Jerry, exposed for cheating the widow, forging county documents, and lying to their own flesh and blood. Judge Riley's verdict came that afternoon. The auction voided, investigation open, and Amanda officially restored as titled owner. Lorraine and Jerry fled the steps, heads down, as Marty read out the charges and officials filed into the hotel's small meeting room. Marty's smile was bitter. Funny how small a big town gets when you show what's under the pretty paint. Amanda watched Lorraine's back recede, the final link to her old life shattering as easily as the concrete in her garage. Across Oak Haven, allied business owners locked their doors to Lorraine and Jerry, refused to take their calls, closed accounts, and posted signs, "No service to liars or cheats." Word filtered to the next town, sending would-be developers scurrying. The Mays name was mud overnight. Weez met Amanda on Main Street as dusk fell. "You did it, girl. You didn't just save your family's name, you saved this block. With that underground property, we can start something, maybe even pull this town up again." She pocketed Tom's photo and smiled, exhaustion turning to fierce, steady pride. "I just wanted a home. Never thought I'd end up with a way to save Oak Haven, too." By spring, Amanda had turned the crumbling cottage, and its hidden mansion below, into a small inn and event space, hiring local crews left jobless in the past year to renovate and market. The old ballroom glittered with new light fixtures, the tunnels offered tour, and Oak Haven's bakery, butcher, and diner returned to life with a steady flow of visitors. Lorraine and Jerry tried door after door. Each time, shutters closed, eyes averted, voices cold and clipped. Not here, not ever again. For Amanda, the echo of Tom's laughter in the halls was no longer a memory, but a foundation beneath her feet. Sometimes it isn't just what you claim that makes you rich, but how much truth you're willing to fight for when everyone else gives up. When loyalty crumbles and masks fall, all that stands between you and the future you deserve is the courage to dig through stone and not stop when you hit concrete. If you've ever been outnumbered but knew you were right, remember, sometimes the world's waiting for you to strike the first blow. Amanda woke to sunlight slicing across her pillow, the sharp honey-orange beams warming her face in a way she hadn't felt since childhood. There was a stillness that morning, after months of trembling uncertainty, that felt almost holy. The echoes of last night's laughter, her own, raw with relief and wee swooping delight, lingered in the rafters and halls. For the first time, the smell of fresh paint and coffee overpowered the rot and dust. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. She rolled over and reached for it, thumbing aside the cracked screen protector, bracing herself for some new threat. But it was a new message from Marty instead. "Warrant served at Lorraine's, you're clear. Come down to town hall if you can." Amanda's heart fluttered wildly in her chest. She set the phone down and let herself smile, wide and without fear. As she padded into the tiny kitchen and set water boiling for coffee, she caught her reflection in the microwave's dented surface, hair rumpled, face flushed, but eyes vivid, alive. She looked like a woman who'd fought and won hard and for keeps. Downstairs, the knock at the door came earlier than expected. It was Wheeze, wind-bitten and grinning, a box of pastries in one hand. He held it out, for the lady of the house figured you hadn't eaten. She pulled him inside with a tired laugh. "You read my mind. I swear I haven't tasted sugar in 3 weeks. I'm running on caffeine and pure terror." He set the box on the counter and leaned against the sink. "You made it. There was never much doubt in my mind, but—" He paused, humbling himself in front of the cabinets and the morning light. "It was a hell of a thing to watch. I reckon Oak Haven hasn't seen a show like that since the bridge collapsed back in '88. Amanda grinned, tearing a corner from a cinnamon roll. This time the right side won. Wheeze tipped his hat to her. "You'll be a story folks tell for 50 years, you know, how a Maze fought her own blood to save what mattered. Hell, you turned the whole town upside down." She sobered, remembering Lorraine's twisted face as she fled the courthouse steps. "I never wanted a fight, I just couldn't let them erase everything. Not after Tom, not after all those whispered lies." Wheeze nodded. "You got folks' respect, Amanda, and maybe it's time for Oak Haven to learn some new stories." They ate pastries and talked over plans, how they'd convert the underground rooms, how Wheeze would handle the first wave of curious press, how Amanda would vet every contractor like the secret tunnels were vaults of gold. With each word, Amanda felt the ache in her chest recede, replaced by something like hope. By 10, she was dressed and standing outside the cottage, the keys jangling in her hand. She tipped her head back, breathing sun-warmed air, and caught the first wave of townsfolk arriving, Tim Schroeder with his toolbox, Evelyn Partridge with a tote of curtains and a smile broad as the river. The news had traveled fast. "Amanda's opening up the Maze Mansion, come see for yourself." At the courthouse, Marty met her at the door, stacks of papers propped in his arms. He beamed, auditor signed off. "Lorraine and Jerry are finished. Town council wants to meet about that idea you pitched soon as you're ready." Marty lowered his voice, flicking his eyes to the frost-rimmed glass of the office. "Listen, there's talk of the county buying the tunnel rights if you'll let 'em. Tour, history, school field trips could bring money back to the whole region." Amanda took a slow breath. "Let's do it the right way for everyone." A shadow moved in the hallway and Evelyn Partridge peeked in, cradling 2 mugs of cocoa. "Amanda, dear, the mayor says the press is here. They want a quote for the Oak Haven Post." Amanda blinked. "For me." "First time a Maze gets to tell her own story," Evelyn said gently. The foyer of the underground house still smelled of stone and distant memory. Amanda led the little party, Wheeze, Marty, Evelyn, and the shutter-clicking reporter, down the polished stair and into the echoing ballroom. Light from newly installed bulbs flickered across the old chandeliers and scattered over the dusty velvet chairs, now draped in white sheeting. Amanda paused in the middle of the floor, the reporter scribbling notes. "So, Miss Mays," he prompted, lowering his camera, "what are your plans for the Mays estate now that, well, it's truly yours?" Amanda looked around. We steady beside her, Evelyn clutching her arm, Marty nodding solemnly. "I want to build something real here," she said at last. "Not just for me but for this whole town. All my life I thought I was nothing more than the daughter who left came back empty. But these walls, these old tunnels, they're proof we can survive anything. Oak Haven was built by people who refused to quit when times got hard. My family tried to hide that or steal it. I'm going to restore it for everyone. As long as there's breath in my body, this house will mean hope." The reporter scribbled quickly, eyes shining. "And you forgive your family, even after all that?" Amanda hesitated, the memory of Lorraine's cold threats prickling her neck. She swallowed, then answered simply, "I may forgive one day, but I won't forget. Some truths have to be lived with." There was a hush in the ballroom. Sunlight shot through the street-level glass, throwing gold spears against the far wall. Amanda's heart lightened a little more. Over the next weeks, word spread. Curious locals lined up at the curb to peek in at the renovation. Amanda greeted every visitor by name, shaking hands with old classmates and bantering with the skeptical. Some came only to gawk, hungry for scandal, but many came bringing tools, casseroles, and stories of what the old place had meant decades ago, of dances in the underground halls, secret meetings during past floods, rumored hideouts during the hard years. One Saturday, Amanda was in the process of peeling weathered wallpaper from the den's curved ceiling when she heard footsteps behind her. "Looks like you need a hand," a voice called. She turned, wary. It was her Uncle Bill from the next county over, a broad-shouldered man with crow's feet carved deep at his eyes. She braced herself. "You here to gloat, Bill?" He scratched his jaw. "No, kid, here to apologize. I should have stood up for you. I knew what Lorraine and Jerry were up to, I just—" Bill's words trailed off, raw with regret. Amanda put the scraper down. "That's done now, but I could use help with the plumbing if you're offering." Bill grinned, a real Mays smile. He pulled a wrench from his jacket. "Heard this old place had a hell of a story hiding under its floors." She laughed. The sound bounced off the stone, and for the first time the house felt less like a mausoleum and more like a home. That spring, as the inn took shape and Amanda wove her life into the bones of the walls, Lorraine's absence echoed, sometimes as accusation, sometimes as relief. Jerry was gone too, hustled out of town under the weight of official charges and disgrace. Their silence was a wound, but Amanda learned to live with it. Sometimes folks would glance away when she walked into Betty's diner, but mostly they greeted her, the woman who'd saved the heart of Oak Haven. We's worked the phones, booking the first weddings in the revived ballroom. Evelyn and Tim ran tour for the grade school classes, sharing the legend of the Mays tunnels and the day Amanda slammed down the truth in front of God and everyone. On a soft April afternoon, Amanda sat on the wraparound porch, sorting pay envelopes for her crew, when a familiar silhouette strode up the walk. She blinked, heart clenching. For a moment she saw Tom, young and smiling, but it was Marty in his courthouse tie, arms full of mail. "Busy as ever," he said, setting the bundle down. "Busier than I thought possible," Amanda replied, tucking loose hair behind her ear. Marty handed her an envelope with a gold-embossed return address. "Recognize it." She squinted at the script. "Governor's office." Word's gotten out. Mays Mansion's on the state heritage list now. They want to designate the tunnels a protected site. Amanda's lips parted in astonishment. She whistled low. "I guess that's real now, isn't it?" "As real as it gets," Marty said, grinning wide. "Oak Haven's back on the map." Amanda broke the seal and read the letter, something unfurling in her. Pride, but something softer too, peace maybe. The little house her mother had tried to bury was a headline, a legacy, a chance for the whole town to rise. Marty sat on the porch rail, voice conspiratorial. You know they're going to want a speech, right? Fancy dinner, ribbon cutting, all that muckety-muck stuff. Amanda groaned, but she smiled. I'll do it for Oak Haven, not for Lorraine. Marty winked. Folks will want to hear what you have to say. Don't worry, you'll have your army behind you. She gazed at the playground across the street, kids squealing, a swing set creaking, the world spinning on, unbothered by old wounds. In a quiet pocket of joy, she closed her eyes and prayed Tom could see what she'd done, what they'd started together. The grand reopening arrived on the first true evening of summer. Paper lanterns bobbed in the trees and the sweet smoke of barbecue drifted over the yard. Amanda stood at the foot of the cottage steps, dressed in soft blue, the brown notebook tucked safely in her bag. The whole town gathered, Judge Riley booming through a megaphone, Evelyn in a bright hat was looking proud as a father. A hush fell as Amanda stepped up to the microphone, the new brass plaque gleaming on the house behind her. May's Family Estate and Refuge, S. 1931, restored 2024. She took a deep breath, feeling every eye turned to her, every doubt and grace. I used to think there was nothing here for me, she began, voice clear, steady. That family could be taken away, that hope could be stolen or lied about. But Tom always said, don't let concrete stop you, Mandy. Dig for what matters till your hands bleed if you have to. Children danced on the new-cut lawn, couples swayed to an old tune from the ballroom below. Amanda's throat tightened. This house is proof we aren't done yet. There's always something under the floorboards worth fighting for: truth, history, belonging. Oak Haven was built by families who held out through storms and lean years, and now we hold each other up again. I hope you'll help me keep this place alive, for all our stories, for everyone who comes home to start over. The applause came like rain. Amanda caught Wheeze and Marty in the crowd next to Evelyn and even Bill, watching with tears in his eyes. She looked up at the sky, clouds rolling, dusk coming on, and felt for the first time in her life that she was truly home. That night the party wound down and Amanda wandered through the darkened halls below, lantern in hand. In the underground drawing room, the walls glowed gold and the silence was gentle, not haunted. She stopped by the framed photograph of her grandparents from the trunk, now hung above the rebuilt mantel. Next to it, she tucked Tom's photo, his laughing eyes reflecting the flicker of lantern flame. "Did you see, Tom?" she whispered. "We did it, I did it." Her fingers brushed the smooth wood of the desk, the weight lifting at last. Upstairs, someone called her name, a small voice, a girl from down the street wanting a bedtime story in the old ballroom. Amanda turned, her heart brimming, and hurried up the stairs. History, grief, hope, all sewn into the joists, ready for new stories. And Amanda at the heart of it, no longer trembling, no longer hiding, but open at last, the keeper of keys, the teller of truths, and the steadfast owner of the May's name. Outside, fireflies blinked in the grass, and for Oak Haven, for Amanda, a new chapter truly began.